What's up, my podcast listeners? This is your host, Rafał Machewski, and I'm going to get back into this whole habit of filming my podcast episodes because I haven't done this in a while, since probably at least 2 months, and I feel like, I need to get back into it. But I want to continue on my last podcast episode where I started talking about my journey with my most recent back flare up. So this past Wednesday, so I'm recording today on a Sunday, so it's been a few days since then. If you listen to my podcast, you know that I flared it up Wednesday morning, and all I did was open a door and my back decided to seize up on me and just kind of grip really, really tight. And I thought it would be a really good idea to not only document my journey on how, I go through the thought process of actually rehabbing myself, because I feel that back pain in general tends to affect a lot of people. So even in my current client load, I have a lot of people, I would say probably 90% of them, that have experienced some sort of low back pain. And in my case, it's not a mobility issue, because that's usually where I kind of go down to. So almost every single person that I've worked with that has some sort of low back pain or back pain in general, there is a bit where, they don't have enough mobility in their hips or thoracic spine. So in my case, I have those things. So my back pain has come from a capacity load that was far beyond what my musculature could do. And this is what I always explain to people during my assessment, when I take them through for the first time, is that our bodies have a capacity of whatever movement, whatever load that we do over time. So it's kind of like an accumulative effect of, I decide to do a deadlift, I decide to do a squat, and those forces from the dumbbell, the barbell, the kettlebell, whatever implement I'm using, goes through my body. My tissues can either take that stress or they can't, and then something goes. So in my case, I was at my limits for how much stress I was putting in my body. So number one is, like, I've been really trying to hammer out a lot of exercise lately. So that's one stressor. The day before, I was training 12 clients in a row. That's a long day for your body to take on that kind of stress. And then on top of that, that same evening, I had really bad sleep. And my body was already at that point where it's like, I can't take anymore. And I think a lot of people forget that just because we're dealing with something physically doesn't mean that that also has a role when it comes to the mental side of things. The stresses that you take on the emotional level, mental level, also has a huge role in how our body takes it. I've also seen this a lot when it comes to people dealing with pain, and when you start really unraveling and opening that can of worms, they've most likely have experienced some sort of trauma in the past, whether physical or emotional, from a young age, or in high school, college, whatever it is. So now in their true adult life, anytime pain passes through our body, they have a magnifying glass of that particular pain. So if I roll my ankle today and I'm an individual that has a traumatic background, either or both physical and emotional, that pain that I experience is going to be a lot heightened compared to someone who has never had that and they roll their ankle and they're like, oh, that sucks, whatever. Because I remember when I pulled my back opening a door on this past Wednesday morning, I went right away into the mindset of like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why? What did I do? I'm doing everything right. And then I started doing that audit of what's going on in my life. And I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So one, it's also a skill set to learn like self-awareness. And this is what I try to do with clients all the time is try to like open up what they're actually experiencing. Because, I see them 1 to 2 hours per week if I'm lucky. But there's a lot of other hours throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year that they go through stuff that I don't know. And when you ask the average person, when was the last time you spent like 1 minute that's uninterrupted by your phone, your laptop, your work, your kids, your spouse, where you actually are alone with your thoughts and working through shit? It doesn't happen. When you audit the regular person's day, you wake up, you're already starting to get ready for work, you're already trying to get your kids set and ready for school, you're already driving now in a car and you're trying to figure out how to get through this person in front of you because they're driving really, really, really slow. You get to work, already stressed out from that experience. You go through your whole work day, and it's the same thing coming back from your commute. Then you're already off into this whole like rush of dinner, doing all your responsibilities, and then going to sleep. There was no time in between there where you could actually spend some time with your own thoughts to figure out, okay, how's my body feeling today? How's, my life been going? Am I actually planning ahead or am I just reacting? And I think that's where a lot of people kind of fall into these days is that they're very reactive. They react to the stresses that come to them. They're reactive to whatever situation that their life is going through. It's always those things and never so much like, okay, what can I do to plan and prepare for those things? I find that when we actually take time to be with our own thoughts, whether it's meditation, whether it's, closing your eyes for just a second and feel what you're feeling, we don't have that platform. Most people don't. And I know I'm kind of going off the rails here, but that has a huge correlation to how we deal with pain, whether it's back pain like myself, shoulder, knee, whatever it is. Because when you look at from an athletic standpoint, a lot of athletes that are actually paid to play, the moment they injure themselves, the first thought that goes in through the head is, am I going to be good enough like I was before this injury? Right? That can throw you off so much. And I've seen this with so many clients of mine who've actually experienced a traumatic injury or traumatic experience. And I've seen them work through it through my career. And the ones that do really, really well are mentally strong here. I've seen people where they have a traumatic injury and it doesn't even faze them. They just know like, okay, I got to put in the work. I need to go see my chiro, I need to go see my physio, I need to get my massage, I need to do my rehab, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it's just another thing on the list that they're going to accomplish. But for most of us who go through something like that, it just derails us completely. And I think that derailing leaves that traumatic mark on our body, on our nervous system. And this is where I explain to clients that when you deal with an injury, your nervous system is doing everything to stop movement in that area. But movement is going to be the thing that helps you. So I always tell people the moment you get injured is the moment the rehab starts. So in my case, when I pulled my back, the last thing that I wanted to do was like, okay, I'm just going to come here and just like, I'm not going to move. You want movement. So luckily for me, my first client of the morning was a Kinstretch client. And I told her, I'm probably going to do the majority of your workout because my back needs it. And I could feel my whole back doing this, just gripping, like it did not want to move. So I was like, I need to add motion because your brain is trying to protect, in this case, my back constantly. It does not want me to move. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move through flexion and extension as much as possible. I'm gonna rotate back and forth. And actually, for those who are watching, when I injured my back, my rotation going to the right was this. And today, which is Sunday, I'm over here now, right? Not too bad. Left rotation on the day on Wednesday was this. Actually, I didn't actually move, if I remember correctly. I couldn't move that way. And today, pretty good. Like I get to about 45, and that's when I start feeling that kind of area that I triggered to kind of tighten up. So I'm not perfect, but if I had to measure in a percentage from Wednesday to today, I'm probably back at 80%. Like on Friday when I worked out, my plan said trap bar deadlift, and I'm like, you know what? It's probably not going to feel that great. So I pivoted. And that's the other thing too that I'm going to talk about is people who do injure themselves that go to the gym regularly, usually they push through it. You should not be pushing your body when you're injured. Find alternatives. I don't know what it is about people going like no pain, no gain. It's not going to make you better. And that's another saying that I always tell trainers and clients is that it's really easy to make someone tired. Go do 100 burpees. You'll be tired. You'll think it's the best workout ever because you feel tired. And that's what people think a workout needs to be, is you have to be tired to get better. But it's very difficult to make someone better. How do I take an individual that's in front of me, or even myself, through a training phase and get better? It's not always about, okay, well, you know what? Today I'm going to go 5 pounds heavier on my trap bar. It's not always, you know, I'm going to do an extra set. I'm going to do an extra rep, because those things are stress on your body. So if I'm injured, and even though I felt better on Friday, I'm still not at my 100% capacity. I'm hovering 60 to 70. It would be foolish of me to go in my head, oh, you know what? My incline bench press is on today. I used to do 50s no problem. I'm going to try 55s, maybe even 60s. Let's see if I can actually do it. But because I have an injury in my back that my brain and nervous system is trying to protect, and is going to down regulate how much force I can actually push into my workouts, I'm literally just running on empty. So I always tell people, like, sometimes taking a step back is going to take you 2 steps forward. But for some reason in our brain, in our psyche, we have to be sprinting on a treadmill and crying to actually see a training effect. It does not make sense, right? You only get better from your workouts if you actually recover from them. And I truly believe that once you follow tips like this and do things like kin stretch, you bounce back so much faster. A few episodes ago, I spoke about how a lot of my clients who've come to me with severe injuries start doing kin stretch regularly, and anytime they do have a flare up, they bounce back. Now, Wednesday was the day that I injured my back where I could not move. Like, I could not even lay down on the floor or on my bed on my back directly without sharp pain. Today's Sunday. We had all of Wednesday, all of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. In 4 days, I'm at 80% if I had to give myself a percentage of where I'm at. Probably by tomorrow, I'll be back to normal. So in a span of 5 days, without doing any treatment, I did not go see any physio, chiro, RMT, or anything. 5 days, I'm back at 100%. That's pretty amazing. I've had multiple clients have very similar experiences no matter what they are dealing with, because with kin stretch, I'm building up the capacity of my tissues. But now I'm thinking, okay, this has happened to me. So now to prevent it, I want to do more spine work. If I had to audit my Kinstretch workouts, and again, they're a little bit random because sometimes I have to film something and I kind of go along that line, but I kind of just focus more so on my hips, my shoulders, and right now I have this thing where I'm going to try to do the splits by the end of the year. But those are the things I'm kind of focusing on. But I'm like, okay, how much time do I actually dedicate to my spine? Not enough. So maybe I actually start focusing on that, you know? And a lot of times people just focus on the stuff that they're good at. So when it comes to dealing with back pain, sometimes you need to look at it from a different point of view. What am I doing in my life from a mental and emotional side? Is the stresses from that at a max point that it's actually now spilling into my physical being? Almost every client that I've trained in my career that has had a high stress job and a high stress home life gets manifested into their physical body. And they're the same ones that get a massage every month. They go get needled from their physio, they get adjustments, and they're like, it just doesn't work. And a lot of times, and I think I'll do another podcast on this on my own story this past year about stress, it manifests so much into our physical being more than we think. And sometimes just saying no to certain things in your life will affect your physical well-being. When it comes to back pain, it's equally important to focus on the mental side of things, because the moment you injure your back, similar to the athlete example I just said earlier, is your brain going, you shouldn't lift heavy anymore. You shouldn't do this motion. You shouldn't bend your spine that way. So you almost have to reteach your brain that you're allowed to move your spine into flexion and extension and rotation and lateral flexion. I've seen this so many times with people where they injure their back and they are deathly scared to move again because they don't want to feel that pain. Because throughout the process, you will have moments where it just grabs and you're like, oh, that hurt. That happened to me during this journey of my flare up. I would try to rotate and show something like on Thursday morning when I was training clients, one of my clients had a barbell exercise and I went to go grab the barbell. Forgetting that I had my injury, I went to go grab it, and lifting it out of the holder, I felt it right away catch, right? For the average person, they would be like, okay, I'm never going to grab something out here that's heavy and that's going to be it. But because with my knowledge, I'm like, nope, that's fine. Like, I got to keep going. I got to do my thing. So to kind of wrap this up, because I've been just rambling on, what did I do to make my back feel better? I never stopped moving. I did every controlled articular rotation that I could that did not affect my spine in a negative way. I did my neck, I did my shoulders, I did my elbows, I did my wrists, I did my T-spine to my best ability, I did my hips, I did my knees, I did my ankles. I did every T-spine mobility exercise I could think of through a pain-free range of motion. I used so much diaphragmatic breathing, and I did that throughout the whole day. I did that on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I did not stop because I knew that the moment I stopped, my nervous system would take over and just make everything tighter and will prevent me from regaining that range of motion that I worked so hard for. So my advice to everyone out there who deals with a low back, mid back, upper back flare up, try not to stop moving, because your body's going to try to do that to protect you, which is great. It really is great because it's trying to protect you. But you have to add a little bit of feedback back to the system that section of your body that you injured is important and you want to keep it. That's the thing, you want to be able to keep that range of motion. So if I decide to lay in bed or on the couch the whole time and not do anything, then I'm going to be, worse than I was before. So I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that kind of gave you some clarity of what you should be doing if you ever have a flare up, and another reason why you should be doing Kinstretch. And if you don't know already, I already have a online Kinstretch platform that has recorded workout videos of me teaching you Kinstretch, where they're anywhere from 15 minutes long all the way up to an hour. And I always tell people the easiest thing you can do is the cars routine that's included in that platform on a daily basis. It will literally take you anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes if you did 3 repetitions of each single joint. And if you did that for a month, you'd be so surprised of how good your body would feel. Take that one step further and actually start doing a Kinstretch workout that's literally 20 minutes long every single day. And in 1 month, you'd be surprised how well your body is going to move and feel. And that feeling of moving better and pain free is going to give you that motivation to do more in your life. That's it for me, you guys. Until next time, thank you so much.